The story does not stop at a leaderboard or a viral headline. It stretches into something much deeper, something that exposes how modern sports value is actually measured, and why this moment feels so uncomfortable for so many people watching from the outside. What we are witnessing is not just a financial gap between two elite athletes. It is a collision between two completely different models of success, and only one of them aligns with how today's sports economy truly works. Caitlin Clark's rise to the top of the earnings list is not some accident of timing or media bias. It is the natural outcome of attention economics meeting authentic appeal. Even during an injury-riddled season where she barely touched the court, her presence never left the conversation. That alone tells you everything. Availability matters in sports, but relevance matters more. Clark remained relevant without playing because people care about her story, her personality, and what she represents beyond box scores. That kind of connection does not disappear when the minutes do. What makes this situation even more jarring is that it exposes a truth the WNBA has tried to dance around for years. Marketability is not guaranteed by awards, championships, or tenure. It is earned through connection. Corporations do not invest in sympathy. They invest in influence. They invest in figures who expand markets rather than simply dominate within them. Clark did not just become a star inside women's basketball. She pulled new eyes into the sport, people who had never watched a WNBA game, never followed college basketball, and never purchased women's sports merchandise before. That is why her value exploded so quickly. This is where the frustration on the other side becomes impossible to hide. Aya Wilson's resume is impressive on paper, but paper does not sell products. Brands look for ambassadors who make consumers feel something positive. They want faces that feel aspirational, safe, and unifying. Clark checks every one of those boxes. Her image works in boardrooms, classrooms, youth camps, and primetime commercials. She feels approachable without being ordinary, elite without being polarizing. That balance is rare, and companies pay a premium for it. Wilson, by contrast, has spent years framing her narrative around grievance instead of growth. That approach may rally a specific segment of fans, but it limits reach. The corporate world is risk-averse by nature. Executives do not want ambassadors who bring controversy into rooms meant for inspiration and optimism. They want people who elevate conversations, not derail them. Every time Wilson chooses to respond to Clark's success with bitterness rather than confidence, she reinforces the very perception that keeps brands at a distance. The speaking fees tell the story more clearly than any endorsement list ever could. Clark is not being paid to talk about basketball drills or locker room motivation. She is being paid to speak about leadership, resilience, pressure, and building success in competitive environments. That matters. It places her in the same lane as CEOs, founders, and global business figures. She is not just an athlete in those rooms. She is a case study. Wilson does not occupy that space, not because she lacks talent, but because she has not built a narrative that resonates beyond the hardwood. This difference in approach traces all the way back to their college years. Clark carried a program that had no business reaching the heights it did, turning every game into an event and every season into a storyline. She made people believe they were watching something special unfold in real time. Wilson thrived in a dominant system that produced championships but did not require her to become the story itself. One path created a brand centered on possibility. The other created a brand centered on accomplishment. In today's economy, possibility sells more. The league itself has struggled to adapt to this reality. For years, it tried to manufacture stars through narratives that felt forced rather than organic. Clark disrupted that approach by becoming unavoidable. She did not need constant promotion. The audience followed her naturally. That scared people who were comfortable with the old hierarchy. When someone enters a system and immediately changes the power dynamics, resentment often follows. But resentment does not change numbers, and numbers are what corporations respond to. What makes Clark's $16.1 million figure so significant is not the amount itself, but what it represents. It signals that women's basketball has a figure who can operate at the intersection of sport, culture, and business without controversy dragging her down. It signals that a player can elevate the entire ecosystem by attracting sponsors who previously ignored the league. That kind of impact cannot be replicated by complaining about fairness or demanding recognition. It has to be built. Wilson's repeated attempts to reframe the conversation through social commentary and passive-aggressive messaging only highlight the contrast further. Instead of positioning herself as an alternative brand, she positioned herself as an opponent. That rarely ends well in the business world. Companies do not want internal feuds attached to their logos. They want momentum. Clark represents momentum in its purest form. The uncomfortable truth is that the earning gap is not about race, favoritism, or league politics. It is about consumer response. Fans buy Clark jerseys. Parents want their kids to hear Clark speak. Businesses want Clark on their stages. Media outlets want Clark in their headlines. That demand exists independent of league narratives or player campaigns. It exists because she connects. Wilson's failure to generate that same demand is not a conspiracy. It is a market response. As Clark continues expanding her reach, the gap will likely grow, not shrink. Each successful partnership leads to another. Each speaking engagement opens doors to new industries. Each appearance outside basketball strengthens her image as more than just a scorer or a passer. She is becoming a symbol of modern athletic success, where talent meets temperament and visibility meets value. This moment forces a larger question that the WNBA cannot avoid much longer. Do you reward impact or seniority? Do you chase audiences or lecture them? Do you build stars organically or try to force narratives that no longer resonate? Clark's dominance on this list answers that question more clearly than any press release ever could. Now it's your turn. Why do you think Aya Wilson failed to make this list despite the league pushing her as a cornerstone figure for years? Is this purely about branding, or does it expose deeper flaws in how women's basketball markets its stars? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let this conversation continue, and if you want more unfiltered breakdowns of the business, politics, and power dynamics shaping women's sports, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss what's coming next.